Monsters have always existed to tell us something about ourselves. Long before cinema, before special effects and franchises, monsters were warnings. They appeared at the edges of the world, punished those who crossed forbidden lines, and disappeared once order was restored. They were not meant to be understood. They were meant to be feared. For decades, cinema followed that logic. The monster entered the human world, disrupted it, and was either destroyed or driven back into darkness. The audience stood safely with the humans, watching chaos from a distance. But something subtle has changed, and that change became impossible to ignore. Look at the way these monsters have been reintroduced to us. Dracula, Frankenstein, Predator. Different genres, different studios, and different histories, yet they feel strangely connected. Not because they look alike or behave alike, but because they are framed alike. For the first time in a long time, the camera no longer treats them as problems to be solved. It treats them as lives to be followed. This is not about making monsters softer. That's the mistake people make when they try to explain this shift. These creatures are still violent, still dangerous, still capable of destruction. What has changed is not what they do, but where the story places us in relation to them. In older versions of these myths, the human perspective was sacred. Jonathan Harker entered Dracula's castle so we could feel terror safely. Victor Frankenstein existed to remind us of scientific hubris. The soldiers in Predator existed so we could cheer when the monster was finally defeated. Humans were the moral anchor and the monsters were the disturbance. But in the 2025 versions, that anchor slips. Dracula is no longer introduced through the eyes of a visitor. We are placed inside his grief, his memory, his endless interior life. The horror doesn't come from what he does to others, but from what time has done to him. He doesn't feel like a force invading the world. He feels like something trapped inside it. Frankenstein's creature is no longer framed as an experiment gone wrong. He is framed as a consciousness abandoned. The true horror is not his strength or his rage, but the absence of responsibility from the one who created him. The monster doesn't feel like a mistake. He feels like a consequence. And in Predator Badlands, the shift is even more radical. The Predator is no longer the thing stalking humans from the shadows. He is the narrative center. We follow his path, his code, his alliances. Humans are distant, procedural, and often reduced to machines and systems rather than characters. Against them, the Predator doesn't feel like chaos. He feels like continuity. This is where the romanticization comes in, but not in the way people usually mean it. These films are not trying to redeem monsters. They are trivializing them. This is classical romanticism, not modern hero worship. Romanticism is about isolation, about beings in conflict with time, with fate, with systems larger than themselves. Dracula is crushed by memory. Frankenstein's creature is crushed by neglect. The Predator is shaped not just by a rigid code, but by loss. His brother is killed by their father, and he is pushed into a world where the hunter becomes the hunted. The code that once defined him now traps him, turning the hunt into a struggle for survival rather than supremacy. And here's the part many people miss. In all three films, humans are no longer the most emotionally coherent presence. They are distant, bureaucratic, automated, or morally hollow. In Predator, the most ruthless force isn't the hunter. It's the machines sent by humans. In Frankenstein, the greatest cruelty isn't violence, but abandonment. In Dracula, the greatest horror isn't blood. It's eternity without the love of his life. The monster, paradoxically, becomes the most consistent being in the story. This doesn't mean the films are saying the monsters are right. It means they are saying the monsters make sense. And that is a very uncomfortable realization. Because once the monster makes sense, the old moral hierarchy collapses. Fear stops working the way it used to. We are no longer just watching the hunt. We are participating in it. We are no longer asking how to stop the monster. We are asking what the monster reveals. And this is why these films feel different from versions made even a few years ago. They are not interested in spectacle first. They are interested in endurance. They don't ask whether the monster should exist. They ask what survives when empathy disappears from human systems. This is also why these films divide audiences. Some viewers find them profound, others find them slow, indulgent, or pretentious. That division isn't accidental. These films are not built to be consumed quickly. They are built to linger. Monsters have always survived by changing shape, not by becoming human, but by reflecting what humans no longer want to look at directly. In 2025, monsters no longer represent chaos. They represent memory, consequence, and continuity in a world obsessed with control and efficiency. And maybe that's the quiet truth these films are circling. The monster didn't change first. We did. So, did you notice this shift in the 2025 films as well? Did these monsters feel different to you than they did in earlier versions? If something changed for you while watching them, I'd really like to know what it was. Thank you for watching.